Do you ever feel invisible when you are in a crowd? When you are on a busy train or a bus, most people just look at their phones. They are in their own little worlds. They do not see the people around them. Sometimes this is nice, but sometimes it means that people can be rude because they do not see you as a real person. This is a story about a day like that. A day when I was just a quiet, invisible passenger on a train, but I had a secret. I would like to know, what is the rudest behavior you have ever seen on public transport? Please share your story in the comments. My name is Anna, and my story begins on a very crowded Friday afternoon. My job is a little unusual. I am one of the new managers for the city's entire railway system. My title is Head of Passenger Experience. It is a big, important job, but I am new, and no one at the train stations knows my face yet. I do not like to sit in my big office all day. I believe that to understand the passengers, you must be a passenger. So, 2 or 3 times a week, I take off my business suit. I put on my simple, normal clothes, jeans and a coat, and I ride the trains all day. I watch, I listen, I see the real problems. This day was a very busy Friday. The train was packed. It was rush hour and everyone was tired and wanted to go home. The train was hot and crowded. I had been standing for almost an hour. Finally, at one stop, a few people got off and I saw a seat. A wonderful, empty window seat. I quickly sat down. I gave a happy, tired sigh. It felt so good to sit. I just wanted to close my eyes and relax for the rest of the journey. At the very next stop, a woman got on the train. She was the opposite of me. I was in my simple coat, but she was in a very expensive fur coat. She wore big, dark sunglasses, and she was talking loudly on her phone. Yes, yes, she said into her phone. I am on this horrible, dirty train. I cannot wait to get to the party. She was acting like everyone on the train was there just to listen to her. She looked around the crowded train and her eyes saw me, sitting in my comfortable window seat. She did not like that. She wanted my seat. She walked over to me. She did not say, "Excuse me." She just tapped me on the shoulder, hard, with her long red fingernail. I opened my eyes, surprised. She looked down at me, her face full of an arrogant, impatient expression. I took out my headphones. "I'm sorry. Can I help you?" I asked politely. She did not lower her voice. She just pointed at my seat. "Yes," she said, her voice loud and rude. "I need that seat. Get up." I was so shocked I could not speak for a moment. "I'm sorry," I said. "The train is full." "I don't care," she said, her voice even louder now. People around us were starting to look. "I am an important person. I am wearing an expensive coat. You are just a young girl in a cheap jacket. My comfort is more important than yours. Now, are you going to be a good girl and move?" She put her hand on her hip. She was waiting, expecting me to be scared of her and to just obey. She had no idea who she was talking to. I looked at this arrogant woman. All the people around us were watching. They looked tired and uncomfortable. She was making a bad experience for everyone on the train. My first feeling was anger, but my second feeling was professional. I was the head of passenger experience, and this was a very, very bad passenger experience. This was not a personal problem. This was my job. I stayed calm. I did not stand up. I looked at her and said, in a quiet, clear voice, "No." The woman's face turned dark red. She could not believe I had said no to her. What did you say to me?" she whispered, her voice full of anger. "I said no," I repeated, my voice a little stronger. "This seat is not for you. I am a passenger, just like you. I was here first." "You little—" she started to shout. People were moving away from us. "I will have you removed from this train. I will call the conductor. I will call the police. You are just a nobody." She was causing a major scene. This was enough. I slowly stood up. The woman smiled a mean, triumphant smile. She thought I was finally afraid. She thought I was getting up to give her the seat. "That's better," she said, and she started to move toward the window seat. But I did not move out of the way. I stood in front of the seat, blocking her path. "You are not sitting here," I said, my voice firm now. And you need to lower your voice. You are disturbing all the other passengers. That is against the railway rules. She was furious. Who do you think you are? She spat at me. The train police. You have no authority. Actually, I said, you are right. I am not the police. I reached into the pocket of my simple coat. She probably thought I was getting my phone, or maybe some money. I pulled out my wallet. I did not open it to show her money. I flipped it open to a special section. I held it up for her to see. Inside was my official company identification card, my badge. She had to lean in to read the small words. I watched her eyes move. I saw the moment she read my name, Anna Sterling. And then I saw the exact moment she read my title, right under the company logo, Head of Passenger Experience. The arrogant, angry look on her face just froze. It was like a statue. She looked at the badge in my hand. Then she looked up at my face, my simple, quiet, nobody face. Then she looked back at the badge. The color drained from her face. She went completely pale. The loud, rude, and important woman was suddenly completely silent. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. The arrogant woman just stood there, frozen, her eyes wide with terror. The badge in my hand was like a weapon, and it had taken away all her power. I am so sorry, she stammered, her voice now a small, weak whisper. I had no idea. Please. I was just having a bad day. I did not smile. I did not accept her apology. I put my badge away and looked at her with my cold, professional eyes. It does not matter if you had a bad day, I said, my voice still quiet, but now it was the voice of a manager. And it does not matter that you did not know who I was. The problem is how you treated a person you thought was a nobody. The problem is that you believe your expensive coat gives you the right to be cruel. The other passengers in the train car were all watching, listening to every word. It was so quiet, you could hear the sound of the train on the tracks. I pointed to the small sign of rules on the wall of the train. Rule number 3, I said clearly, so everyone could hear. Disruptive or abusive behavior towards other passengers or staff will not be tolerated. I looked back at her. You have disturbed this entire car. You have been abusive. And you have refused to be a respectful passenger. The woman was trembling now. The fear in her eyes was real. Please, she whispered, don't report me. Don't get me in trouble. I will be quiet. I am sorry. You have 2 choices, I said, my voice final. You can stand, quietly, and not say another word for the rest of your journey. Or I can use my phone right now and have the transit police meet you at the very next stop. It is your decision. She just nodded her head quickly, her eyes full of tears of humiliation. I will be quiet, she whispered. I will be quiet. Good, I said. I did not say another word to her. I sat back down in my window seat. The woman in the fur coat who thought her comfort was more important than mine, did not move. She just stood there, silently, holding onto a pole. Her face was bright red with shame. The other passengers, who had looked so uncomfortable before, now had small, satisfied smiles on their faces. The train was finally peaceful again. I looked out the window. My heart was still beating fast from the confrontation. But I also felt a new, strong, and powerful feeling. It was the feeling of justice. It was the feeling of standing up for myself, and for all the other quiet, invisible people on the train. My job was to protect the passenger experience. And today, I had. The rest of the train journey was completely quiet. The arrogant woman in the fur coat stood silently, her head down, for the next 30 minutes until she reached her stop. When the train stopped, she got off quickly, without looking at me, without looking at anyone. She just disappeared into the crowd. She was the one who was invisible now. As the train started to move again, an older man sitting across from me leaned over. He had a kind, respectful smile on his face. "Excuse me, miss," he said quietly. "I just want to say thank you. That was the best piece of theater I have seen in years. She was a terrible woman." I smiled back, a real, tired smile. "I am just glad the rest of the journey will be peaceful for everyone," I said. When I finally got off at my own stop, I felt exhausted, but also energized. My secret ride on the train had not been quiet or relaxing at all. It had been a confrontation, a small, ugly battle. But it had also been a very important lesson. It showed me exactly what was wrong with our system. It showed me how a normal passenger, a person like the me I was pretending to be, could be bullied and feel helpless. The next day, I was back in my big office. I was not the quiet girl in the coat anymore. I was Ms. Sterling, the head of passenger experience, and I had a new important project. I called a meeting with my team. We started to work on a new campaign, a campaign about respect. We put new clear signs on every train car. We started a new training program for all our conductors, teaching them how to handle difficult passengers and how to protect the quiet ones. That day on the train was a bad day. I was insulted, and I was angry. But it was also a good day. It reminded me that my job was not just about schedules and clean seats. It was about people. It was about making sure that every single person who buys a ticket, no matter what clothes they wear or how quiet their voice is, feels safe and respected. That arrogant woman tried to take my seat. But instead, she gave me a new, stronger purpose for my job. And that was a much better gift. If this story about respect and hidden power was meaningful to you, please give this video a like. What is the best way to handle a rude person in a public place? Share your wisdom in the comments. For more satisfying English stories about everyday justice, please be sure to follow our channel.